You absolute bloody legends. Welcome back to FatChat. I'm pretty excited to have this guest with me via Zoom. He is a former Essendon football player. He was an absolute weapon to watch, and I was lucky enough to actually meet him down doing the Bustleton Ironman, and he's gone from the AFL to a triathlete. Please welcome David Zaharakis. Mate, how are you?
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Mate, I'm really good. It's been so good to we're just chatting a little bit off air just then, but so good to catch up again. We obviously we met each other down the Bustleton Ironman, which was my first Ironman. That was your first one, right? As well, yeah.
Yeah, first full. I'd done the half in Melbourne, 5 weeks before, but first full as well.
Wow, so crazy. So only fresh into it. So talk me through the transition from AFL to triathlon. Was it something that you used to do as a kid or anything, or is this something that's only just recently been a thing, or?
Mate, it's the number one question I get asked, as well as when people try and ask me to compare it. So, I never did anything of this as a kid. I only played footy, basketball, cricket as a kid. But obviously when you're injured in footy, you've got to do cross training, and I used to swim a lot, especially having a few quad injuries throughout my time at Essendon. So all I could do was get in the pool and swim. Yeah. Couldn't get on the bike, and then. Probably later, second half of my career, the footy club just bought Watt bikes. We had heaps of them in the gym. So started getting an introduction into riding and obviously swimming. I loved that. So every off season I would swim a lot. But then nothing ever, or never thought about
it was just something you were doing.
Triathlon. Yeah. No, it was just more cross training with footy, and obviously I was a good runner. So finishing my career, I even didn't know what I wanted to do post that. Triathlon I finished in October of 21, and I still, at that stage, didn't even think about Ironman or triathlon.
Yeah, right. Crazy. So what was the turning point for you? Was it working, because you're working with your coach, Brad, who owns the Hurt Locker in, which is a gym in Melbourne, quite famous, big, pretty hectic, everyone trains really hard down there. So were you working with him because he does Ironman and triathlon stuff? Is that how that came about, or did you find each other after, or how did it work?
Yeah, so to cut a long story short, I post footy, I played about 10 games at the local footy club in 2022.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew I wanted some kind of competition to fill that void, but I wasn't really enjoying local footy. And then I went on Australian Survivor. So I went on that, and that kind of just fueled the fire to do something else. So I was kind of a bit lost. And I reckon there was the very first challenge, the first day or second day we won immunity. And winning the immunity challenge, I was like, mate, fire in the belly. I was revved up, had one of my best mates out there who became one of my best mates. And we kind of just were absolutely buzzing after the first challenge. And I was like, holy shit, I've got a lot of fire still left in the belly to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So then post-Survivor, the body was pretty cooked after that, just how long I was out there for. So I didn't do anything for 2 or 3 months. Then it was a couple of mates around New Year's in 2022 just said, why don't we all just start swimming together? Because I hadn't trained for 3 or 4 months post-Survivor. So we just started swimming, and all it was I don't know what the idea came into my head. I can't, every time someone asks me this, I don't know. But it was January of last year, so 2023, did the first swim session and just put on my Instagram randomly, hey, has anyone done an Ironman in their life? I might think about exploring it, doing one, whatever.
Wow.
And then Abby Holmes, a good mate of mine, reached out and said, I think I've got the perfect guy for you if you want to do Ironman. So then she introduced me to Brad Riddle from Hurt Locker here in Richmond. And that was probably mid-Jan. I walked in there, and first thing he told me was to, first thing he just said, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go, I just basically walked in. I went, hi, Brad. And he went, all right, so we're going to do three swims, 3 runs.
He's an intense guy. Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit, all right, whatever. And then we went straight into it. He was the perfect guy for me in that situation in my life that I needed to meet.
Yep.
I needed to meet someone with full life energy who was going to challenge me and inspire me to do something that I wanted to do. So for me, it was get straight into that, start training. And I reckon after about a week, I was hooked, man. I was like, this is a new life for me.
Amazing.
Loving it. But it was still only meant to be Busso in December. It was meant to be one.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then halfway through the year, I said to him, I was like, what if I do Sunny Coast in September? And then he was like, nah, he goes, if you want to do a lead up one, do Melbourne. So I ended up doing Melbourne and then did Busso. But then I reckon even before I did Busso, I already booked all my races for this year. So before I even did a race, I already knew I was hooked and really wanted to make this a long-term thing. Just because I love the competition.
Yeah, for sure. So do you reckon it's for you, it's the competition side of stuff that you're like, oh my God, yes. And like, was your body pretty, beat up and pretty fucked up like post-football, like with your injuries and stuff, or and this has been okay, or like how's that felt too?
Yeah. So to answer your first part, so what I love about triathlon, there's a few things. And also it comes back to like, what's your why? Everyone always asks like, what's your why? So I love competing, but as I kept creating more content, and you'd know this on Instagram doing it too, as you create more content around it, like so many people will message you being like, you're inspiring me of all of a sudden going into triathlon, or I'm doing a marathon, or I was doing a half, now I'm doing a full, or half Ironman, now I'm doing a full, and you've got me running 5K in a weekend. And that kind of just snowballed. It was a pretty cool thing to get, because in footy, you don't really get that. Yeah, you have your fans, but obviously triathlon is such a unique sport that anyone in the world can do it. Anyone can just start running or riding or swimming, whereas football, no one can just play AFL. So that was pretty cool, and it started to really fuel me to keep going. You're inspiring people, just challenging people on to get going in their life and just get out and get physical. So love that side of it. I love to travel. I can travel and do races. Like I just did one in America. So that was another part of it. And just love pushing the body. So see what I can get out of my body, which then to your point about how is the body. So I basically, my whole footy career my first 10 years of my career had no surgeries. And then in my last 3, I had 5 surgeries, and 3 like pretty significant ones. So I had a wrist reconstruction, ankle reconstruction, and a knee reconstruction.
Wow.
So the body was pretty shot at the end of my career in 2021. Like I felt old as a 31-year-old. And then having that 12 months off, basically starting triathlon again. Mate, so when I played footy, I got told I could never run on any surface bar grass.
Wow.
So you can't run on gravel, can't run on concrete, bitumen, whatever. Then had the 12 months off, body was feeling good. And now in triathlon, I mean, I run on the roads 5-6 days a week. I'm cycling, all that stuff. So I actually feel like a 20-year-old again. The body's feeling pretty good. Obviously, you get injuries here and there, just in any sport. So I'm dealing with one right now. But I actually feel really good compared to what my body felt like when I played footy.
Yep.
But in saying that, you've obviously got the carryover of injury. So for me, I've got predisposed to injuries of like knees, because I've got I had a meniscus tear, so you've got less cartilage, patella tendonitis when I played footy. I've got a bad ankle when I played footy. So that kind of carries over to this, and you just got to manage it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I can imagine. Well, honestly, we could literally be here for an hour talking about this. And I reckon if you're available sometime next week, let's do a full one, because I want to know about all the races that you've done so far, because the stories that come out of them are just like next level as well. So let's make that happen next week if you're available. And it's been wicked following along your journey so far and seeing all the progress, because you're not just doing okay, you're fucking flying with your times and stuff. Like, I was a battler. You're not battling. You're out there killing it, right? But if anybody wants to, check out your socials and sort of keep up with the journey and stuff, how can they do that? Where do they find you at the moment?
Yeah, so Zachar11's Instagram, so ZACKA 11. I have a TikTok, but I don't use it, so don't go on there and subscribe. I'll put one video up, and that was it. So just all on Instagram. I try and create use some funny, quirky videos every now and then on there, and put authentic content up from all my races and all that kind of thing. So it's growing nicely. As I said, it's good that you get some people following you and following your journey, especially now with triathlon. It's all over the world. You get random people from America, Europe following you and messaging you about stuff. So it's pretty cool. So that's where they can follow me.
I love it. Sounds good, mate. Well, let's lock in this time next week and let's go the whole races just to give everyone a bit of a taste today. But have a great rest of the week, and keep up training.
Awesome. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, mate.